Who are you?
Well, in real life, I'm the San Diego Chicken. Oh, maybe that's my alter ego. But in reality, nobody likes Ted Giannoulis from London, Ontario, Canada.
You are the famous chicken!
Yes, of course! The one and only San Diego famous chicken. Woo! Can you believe it? It's better than getting a real job, Nardy.
Now, famous chicken, does it go all the way back to Harpo Marx? Does it go back to Harpo Marx?
I gotta tell you, this guy was the San Diego Chicken without a beak back in the day. This guy was actually a real inspiration for me, I must say.
We have a quote here.
Yes.
The famous chicken story is classic Americana.
Well, yes, but the roots are in London, Ontario, where I started off. All I did, Nardwuar, was take my Canadian schoolboy sense of humor and market it in a sports event, and voila, here I am, Chicken a la King.
Well, you might have had groupies when you emceed for Ramones. What can you say about working with the Ramones?
Oh, how did you know that? Woo! Nardy, you know your stuff, buddy. Yes, I did MC a Ramones concert. Yeah, you're right, and I actually met some goth chicks. They're very cool. And but I've also been on stage with many bands. George Thorogood, Jay Giles Band. I'm dating myself a little bit, but I even stopped Elvis one night, cold, to show you how far back I go. I stopped him cold in laughter in the middle of his show.
He was like watching you. You were in the aisles. What were you doing in an Elvis show? Like, you go from Elvis to now. That's incredible, famous chicken.
Nardwuar, the chicken is everywhere. You know, I was there, believe it or not, because he was visiting San Diego. Had to take in an Elvis show. This was about a year before he passed away, and I was goofing in the grandstands and down the aisles while he was singing, and he doubled over in laughter, stopped the show, could not continue, apologized to the audience, and then told everybody, I gotta remind the chicken, my manager's name is the Colonel. Ah!
Elvis, the famous chicken. How about Alice Cooper?
Oh, I never met Alice, you know.
Because he has a chicken incident, doesn't he? Have you heard about the famous chicken incident, Alice Cooper? What can you say about that famous chicken?
Well, you know, it's very interesting. I did not know that chicken, I must say. But whatever he did, I gotta say this: it helped eliminate my competition, at least for one night.
Boom! You, the same person that's in the suit now, was in the suit back then.
Yes, oh yes, I'm not a franchise. It's not like a department store Santa Claus. I'm one of a kind, just like you are, Nardwuar.
Because nowadays, thank you so much, famous chicken.
Woo!
Because nowadays, there's companies that make mascots, aren't there? There's companies that make mascots. They're very similar for all the teams.
That's a good point. There's a whole cottage industry. Even the Olympics nowadays make a big deal about having a character. But in the time that I called BC, before chicken, there was none of this. There weren't even crazy face-painted fans. There weren't crazy mascots. There weren't even really a whole lot of cheerleaders for teams. So I kind of started, like I say, this whole cottage industry where you could be yourself at a sporting event. And for that matter, even rock and roll events.
These companies now, though, they create these mascots. They're all the same. They're all roly-poly. They're not ripped like you, are they?
Oh, thank you, my man. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, that's a good point. They are kind of roly-poly. More like for kids to be patted on the head, you know, and that sort of thing.
Now, famous chicken, you're number one to me, famous chicken. Thank you. You're number one to me, famous chicken. However, Forbes magazine has you as the number 2 mascot of all time. Philly Fanatic, number 1. How come?
Yeah, because they don't know any better. You know, I mean, they're bean counters who don't understand what's going on there in the real world. Things like that happen, Nardwuar. You know, it's like them ranking bands. They'd be the last people you go and approach and say, oh, I wonder who Forbes magazine thinks the top band in the world is right now.
What's the deal on the Philly Fanatic, though? He has a hot dog launcher. Do you think that put him to number 1, having a hot dog launcher?
No. It's because they're back east, and it's the media center of the capital in the world back there. And if it's in their neighborhood, then everything else must revolve around it. When you live out in California, you know, you don't get that kind of attention. That's just the way it is, you know. And so, you know, I don't worry about those things myself, you know. The fact of the matter is, I don't see the Philly Fanatic in Vancouver. Woo!
Famous chicken, I hugged you, but you've been kissed by Morgana, the Kissing
Bandit! Oh, yes, absolutely.
Who is Morgana, the Kissing Bandit, and is she the competition?
Well, you know, back in the day, she was a very voluptuous, to put it politely, very voluptuous young lady who had a tendency to go onto the baseball diamonds and hockey rinks and basketball courts and kiss athletes during timeout breaks right on their peckers, or like, at least for me, at least. And I got to tell you, she ganged up on me one night. unbeknownst to me, and laid a big one right on me, and it was a tremendous thrill, I must say. But she did a lot of Hall of Famers, kissed a lot of Hall of Famers, shall I say, back in her day, and she had quite a cult following.
You're quite mean sometimes, aren't you, Famous Chicken?
Mean in what regard?
You're mean to dinosaurs.
Oh! My friend, you are doing your homework. Yes, you might say that. There's a certain purple dinosaur that I can't explain it. Here I am doing my show. The guy shows up. You know, he's obviously jealous of all the attention I'm getting. And so he challenges me right there in the middle of a diamond to a dance contest. Well, then he starts breakdancing and kind of shows me up. And, complications ensue and a slap fight begins. And, hey, I had to put him down. What do you say?
You had the last word. You always have the last word.
I gotta put him down. That's true. In fact, truth story here at Nardwuar, the guy actually sued me. The Barney people actually sued me to try and stop me from doing that routine, and they lost that lawsuit, and they also had to pay all my legal bills. So that was pretty cool.
Take that, Barney.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo! How do you like me now, dinosaur guy? Woo!
Famous Chicken, how do you keep so clean? Here we are at a baseball diamond. There's all this dirt and stuff. How do you keep so clean?
Well, I just took a bird bath, Nardwuar. So, I'll be ready for the game, though, tonight.
Because your outfit is impeccable.
Oh, it is impeccable. I like that one. Oh, I'm stealing that one. That's a good one. I like it.
Thank you so much, Famous Chicken. I guess that's what I was curious about. Cleaning and stuff. Do you get to go into the showers with, like, A-Rod? Do you get to clean up?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't like to go in there too much because they kind of get jealous of me. They tend to peek at my McNuggets, and then it's a real buzzkill there in the shower. So I wait for the boys to be done, then I go in there.
What do the players think of you? Like, what's the interaction with the Famous Chicken? Are they always down with it? What players maybe haven't had a good time? What players have had a good time with the Famous Chicken?
Yeah. You'd be surprised, Nardwuar. A lot of the players actually think of the gags and routines for me. They do have a good sense of humor. And when you play 162 games and a guy in a chicken suit shows up, believe me, it tends to break the monotony for them, they tell me. So they've come up with gags and routines for me as well. But guys who didn't appreciate it, one of them was Frank Thomas, who's now in the twilight of his career, and another guy was a guy named
What did he find offense with?
Oh, just my showing up. He just thought that, I would be goofing, in and around with him, and something that he really didn't want. And nothing personal. I had nothing planned with him, but he'd make a scene in the locker room, and thinking I was going to approach him when I'm really talking to his teammates. Things like that. I mean, can I say I know there was a lot of steroid use back in those days a few years ago, and I'm not pointing or castigating anybody or pointing fingers, but you just wonder what's true and what's roid rage sometimes.
What other chickens are there?
To my knowledge, I'm the only one in existence.
Let me offer up another chicken for you, Famous Chicken. We have here the Rhythm Chicken. Have you heard of the Rhythm Chicken?
No. In fact, that looks like a bunny.
Yes, that's the whole gag. He dresses like a bunny, but he calls himself the Rhythm Chicken.
Oh, okay.
And he plays at Brewers games.
I did not know that.
And he's a columnist for this esteemed magazine, Razor Cake, but he just sets up and plays his drums. The Rhythm Chicken.
Wow. I remember a few years ago, Burger King had a character that was really, I guess you might say, kind of like a punk chicken. That was a little fascinating, but I did not know about the Rhythm Chicken. That is very cool.
Famous Chicken, lastly here, you've also played the Grand Old Opry?
Wow, man. I gotta tell you, Nardwuar, you are doing your homework. Yes, I was on stage at the Grand Old Opry, and I did, believe it or not, a whole lot of shaking going on to chicken lyrics, or you might say just clucking, a lot of clucking around. But it in front of 5,000 people there on a live broadcast, it was really, I gotta tell you, I really felt what it was like Mick Jagger strutting around like a rooster.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Famous Chicken. Keep on rocking in the free world, and doot-doodaloo-doo.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Ah, yeah!